also a great appreciation for the great songs before 1920, in a period of time when the phonograph was just a talking piece around the house.
He was one of the strangest yet most unforgettable performers in music history. With his eerie falsetto, quirky persona, and signature ukulele, Tiny Tim became an overnight sensation. But behind the laughs and the legend was a story of obsession, heartbreak, and a relentless passion for music. How did a man once dismissed as a novelty act captivate millions? And why did his fame disappear just as quickly? This is the bizarre, fascinating life of Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim, born Herbert Boutros Ghali on April 12, 1932, in Manhattan, New York City, was the son of immigrant parents. His father, Boutros Ghali, a Lebanese textile worker from Beirut, and his mother, Tilly Staff, a Polish-Jewish garment worker who immigrated in 1914, raised him in Washington Heights. From an early age, Tiny Tim was drawn to music rather than traditional childhood pastimes. At 5, he became mesmerized by a gramophone record of Beautiful Ohio by Henry Burr, playing it incessantly. By 6, he had picked up the guitar, later developing a passion for the ukulele after hearing Arthur Godfrey on the radio. His fascination with early American music led him to spend hours at the New York Public Library, studying old phonograph records and sheet music. Struggling academically, Tiny Tim dropped out of George Washington High School and took on odd jobs while pursuing his musical aspirations, performing under various stage names like Larry Love, Derry Dover, and Sir Timothy Timms. His breakthrough came when he discovered his signature falsetto voice, inspired by 1920s singer Rudy Vallee. In 1960, his manager suggested the name Tiny Tim, an ironic nod to his 6 feet 1 inch stature, and inspired by Charles Dickens' character from A Christmas Carol. Fully embracing the persona, he adopted a flamboyant style with long hair, eccentric outfits, and a powdered face to symbolize purity. Tiny Tim's early performances were in unconventional venues, including Hubert's Museum and Live Flea Circus, a dime museum in Times Square, where he performed as Larry Love, the Human Canary, singing Tin Pan Alley songs in his falsetto. Though initially considered a novelty act, he honed his ability to captivate audiences. By the early 1960s, he moved to Greenwich Village, performing in folk clubs such as Café Wa and Page 3, a lesbian-run venue where he built a loyal following. Despite industry skepticism, his talent was undeniable, and in February 1968, he landed a spot on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. His unexpected performance of Tiptoe Through the Tulips captivated audiences, making him an overnight sensation. Following his television breakthrough, Tiny Tim signed with Reprise Records and released his debut album, God Bless Tiny Tim, in April 1968. The album, blending Tin Pan Alley tunes with original compositions, produced the Billboard hit Tiptoe Through the Tulips, which reached number 17. His remarkable vocal range, shifting between falsetto and baritone, added to his growing appeal. He soon made appearances on major television programs, including The Ed Sullivan Show, The Jackie Gleason Show, and The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. While some dismissed him as a novelty act, figures like Bob Dylan and Andy Warhol appreciated his deep knowledge of early American music. One of the most memorable moments of Tiny Tim's career occurred on December 17, 1969, when he married 17-year-old Victoria Buttinger, known as Miss Vicky, live on The Tonight Show. The highly publicized wedding attracted 45 million viewers, making it the second most watched television event of the decade after the moon landing. The set was adorned with thousands of Dutch tulips, and Carson reassured viewers of the ceremony's authenticity. In a characteristically eccentric move, Tiny Tim requested a toast with milk and honey instead of champagne. The event captivated audiences nationwide, with reports of a drop in crime rates as people stayed home to watch. Despite the media frenzy, Tiny Tim's marriage to Miss Vicky was short-lived. The couple had one child, Tulip Victoria, but separated within a few years and eventually divorced. As the 1970s progressed, Tiny Tim's popularity declined amid shifting musical tastes. His television appearances dwindled, and he struggled to maintain his earlier success. Losing his record deal with Reprise, He attempted to revive his career by launching Victim Records in 1971, named after himself and Miss Vicky, but the label folded in 1972. He later started another label, Toilet Records, reflecting his frustrations, but his career continued to wane. Despite his declining fame, Tiny Tim remained committed to show business, performing in unexpected venues, including punk clubs, gay nightclubs, and circuses. He joined Roy Radin's Vaudeville Revue, a traveling show featuring forgotten stars, and found an unlikely following in the punk scene, where his eccentricity resonated. Collaborations with experimental band Brave Combo further cemented his cult status. However, some of his choices led to controversy, notably his 1985 song, Santa Claus Has Got the AIDS This Year, which sparked backlash during the AIDS crisis. Tiny Tim's personal life was filled with peculiar habits. Obsessed with cleanliness, he showered up to 6 times a day and used only disposable paper towels. He brushed his teeth 4 times daily with a mix of 3 different toothpaste brands, believing it enhanced their shine. His extravagant spending included purchasing makeup simply to admire its beauty. His managers often criticized his financial decisions, but he followed his own rules, detached from conventional reality. He married twice more after Miss Vicky. In 1984, he wed Jan Allweiss, but the marriage lasted only 6 months. His third marriage to Susan Marie Gardner in 1995 endured until his death. Despite health concerns, he refused to stop performing. In September 1996, he collapsed on stage during a ukulele festival, but ignored medical advice. On November 30th, 1996, while performing at a benefit concert in Minneapolis, he struggled through Tiptoe Through the Tulips before collapsing. Rushed to the hospital, he was pronounced dead at 11:20 p.m. His wife, Susan, later stated that his last moments were peaceful and he died to the sound of applause. Tiny Tim's legacy remains as unique and enduring as his career. His rendition of Tiptoe Through the Tulips transformed the 1929 love song into something whimsical, bizarre, and later unsettling. The song found new life in horror cinema, most notably in Insidious, 2010, where it created an eerie contrast to supernatural horror. Through his eccentric persona, nostalgic song choices, and deep passion for early American music, Tiny Tim left an indelible mark on entertainment. Though his mainstream fame faded, his influence persisted, ensuring that his name and his signature falsetto would never be forgotten.